Hello and good day to all friends. This is Mojtaba Rasti. I'm from the Thales team. Today is October 24th, 2025. I'm here with a Bitcoin analysis using the Thales market screener. These analyses are for education and information only. If you use this to take market positions, profit or loss is your responsibility. We're on the 4-hour time frame, and as expected, we saw an upward move. So far, we've almost reached and touched 112,100. And now we're waiting for a downward move, which we've already discussed. Previously, if we take a look at the daily time frame and see the shape of the chart, take a look. Yesterday's candle was a green candle with a decent body. Actually, you could say it was strong, and this is today's candle. Today's candle still has about 9 or 10 hours left. If it continues like this, well, it would become a pin bar, and that pin bar could have consequences for tomorrow and the coming days. And it might actually cause a move downward as well. Let's move on to the market screener and take a look at the trading situation. Alright, I'm going to check it out. The filters from the start of today until now in the raw database. For the expiration date. Tomorrow, October 25th. Well, the result is a curve like the one you see here. For tomorrow, it's volatile and the floor is 107,500 and the ceiling is 113,400. We're pretty much in the middle right now, and if we move the slider forward, not much changes. In the process database, it's the same. The floor is a bit lower. Here, it's 106,700 and the ceiling is still around 113,400. And again, right here with the slider. If we move it forward, I think there won't be much of a difference, yes. So for tomorrow, we expect volatility between 106, well, let's say 107 to 113,500. Look, 107 here means this is the floor of the zone up to 132,500. Up to. Here, if the same volatility we've had so far continues, we can expect this kind of situation to persist. Alright, let's go to the raw database and start drawing the indicators and zones. Here, you can see the intersection of the buyer and seller curves. At the top, there's an agreement at 113,300 in the profit zone, and at the bottom, the agreement is at 107,900, around 108,000, and that's also in the profit zone. So both of our zones are areas of agreement. So here, at the top, the seller doesn't want anything above 113,300, and the buyer wants anything above 113,100. And the same conditions apply at the bottom as well. And the zones are also agreement zones. The situation is volatile. This means that here, the chance for movement in either direction is present, and the situation is somewhat fluctuating. Let's enter the points into the indicator and continue. Well, as you can see, our upper and lower bands are rising at a very gentle slope. If you look closely, we can also see an upward trend from here. We can actually draw it like this. This is how we can illustrate the trend, and These bands of ours show exactly that. You can see a very gentle trend. Our ceiling has gone a bit higher compared to yesterday, and so has the floor. The trend is still upward, but right now we're near the top of this trend, as you can see, just like we talked about yesterday. We're starting to lean downward, but within this fluctuation, we still have a gentle upward slope. Let's move on to the update. Check out the zones and continue. Alright, as you can see, our zones have also moved up a bit. The upper zone, well, it's not very wide. It's roughly from 113,100 to 113,300 for the upper zone, and for the lower zone, it's about 107,700 to 108,200. In the middle, we have 111,000, which is just a single line, and right now, that's where the price started moving downward. The lower zone, as you can see, is wider. Both of our zones were profitable at their agreement points, and both were consensus zones. So this lower zone, a bit wider, could go either way depending on which direction price moves. And it actually seems like that's exactly what's happening. Alright, let's take a look at delta and gamma. Let's see what kind of situation we can interpret from delta and gamma. Well, the curve is actually very simple and clear in its status, as you can see. On both sides, we have put selling and call selling. As a result, we have a very large gamma short at 113, and the market maker has a gamma long at 113. For the market maker, this area is right next to our upper zone, where there's actually a concentration of put and call buying. Well, actually, put and call selling. Sorry, for the ticker actually. From the delta format you can see that the depth of delta penetration is greater on the downside than the upside. So we can say that probably call selling is higher, and the top has been seen, mainly for price movement. This top is at 113. The average is 113. As you can see, up to 112 and 160. We went and made it happen. Alright. Let's go. So these are our main gammas. And we don't have any other gammas. There are no other gammas. I'll separate these other curves from your chart. I'll space them out. The important points we can consider. One of them is almost from the very point we're at right now, around 110 and 130, which you could say is the delta's ascending phase up to this gamma. Gamma is an important point that we've marked at 113. Then we have the intersection of gamma and delta here, which is around 115. You could say it's the end of the delta's ascending phase. Let's continue. And this intersection at 119 and 200 is actually the intersection of gamma and the red curve. The intersection of gamma and the red curve. On the lower side, we can see, or we can consider this area here at 108 and 400, where gamma changes its slope compared to the downward slope it has here. Around 108 and 800, it changes slope. We can consider these as well. We should keep these important points around the chart in mind. Alright, let's take a look at the other maturities. If I at the 26th, on October 26th, you can see that there isn't a significant change in the money status, even though the lower bound drops. You can see the accumulation. Its lower bound has gone to 104, meaning the probability of a downward move has increased a bit. On its own, the 26th increases the probability of movement in both directions. It's considered that now we're getting closer to the downside, and we're more likely to move further down. It sees profit below 109, with 849 bitcoins traded. And again, look at October 27th. There's a call sale that's tough. This call sale is at 111,600 for the 20 trades that came in today. For October 27th, there's a call sale right where we are now, at the top. And on October 28th, the number of trades is very low, 8 or 9 bitcoins, which really isn't significant. And finally, October 31st. But can you see a bullish outlook? Look at the trades that came in today. For October 31st, which is quite a lot, 15,900 bitcoins have also just come in today. You can see that. As the price moves down, we have an increase in delta up to 102, 102, and 103. In fact, there's an increase in delta as the market searches for a bottom for this bullish leg, and here you can see the delta also briefly turns bullish. That is, from around 117 and above, the delta continues to increase with the price moving up to 127, 128, a kind of bottom. It needs to be fulfilled so that we can initiate the launch. Basically, we trigger it there, and the price makes its move upward from that launch point. The midpoint here is 106, 105. 106 is for the end of October. Alright, let's also take a look at other expiries. Let's go to tomorrow's expiry. And let's review the detailed trades. 3,467 Bitcoin, of which 772 Bitcoin. Actually, it's been bought. 463 Bitcoin call options bought, 309 Bitcoin put options bought, and the call option purchase has been executed. Considering the strong bullish trend we've had, and if we look at the hourly candles, if we consider it from right here, that's about 4 candles. So probably on this red candle, maybe this green candle, and the red candle was our trade entry. So up to where? It wanted above 100, and let me. It wanted profits above 112 and 270, but how far did we go? Up to 112 and 120. Our calls are accurate. The price is moving down. So here, our puts are more, and the puts are actually moving toward dominance. Sorry about that. The calls were more, and they have been realized. Now we have them. We're moving toward realizing the puts. Where do the puts want to go? Below 194,000, which we're now close to, so they're about to be profitable. These trades are below 194,000. Let's continue. The sale of 2,695 Bitcoin. We're selling. There are 1,858 call sales and 836 put sales. As you can see, the number of call sales is much higher, much higher. This means that for this bullish move, a ceiling has been set, which is around 113, and that's about where we are now, at 113. This upper zone. This candle is very powerful and is currently moving downward. I don't think there's much chance we'll head toward 113 anymore. Basically, that shadow move we had took us up to about 112,200. The ceiling for our call sales has probably been reached as well. We're moving towards selling puts. The floor for put sales has been seen at 109,400, which is the same as my put buying target. So we're getting close to that as well, right around here and lower. Selling puts below 109,500 is not really desirable on average. Right now, we might go a bit further below this number, but on average, it doesn't want below 109,500, which is what we're seeing now. Do you see this happening? Let's also keep that in mind and move on to the process database and take a look at the process database. All right. There are 2,416 Bitcoins and 140 entries, and we don't really have any large negative open interests, so I'm not going to filter it anymore. Let's just filter by size and see what large sizes we have. There are 60 entries with 10 Bitcoins or more, 37 with 15 Bitcoins, 34 with 20 Bitcoins, 33 with 25 Bitcoins, and 7 with 30 Bitcoins. So we should probably focus on the 25 Bitcoin entries. There are 33 of them. Trades that. Yeah, that's quite a lot. And let's see what strategies we have. Look, this short strangle, volatility between 106 and 114 for tomorrow. These two as well, both are short strangles. Are all of these short strangles? Yes, look. All of these that I'm adding, blocks paired 2 by 2. In fact, the number of blocks and contracts are equal, and they're all short strangles. And these ones are single positions. Look, no, these are single contracts now. So actually, we have 600 Bitcoin short strangles for tomorrow. 600 Bitcoin with a floor around 107,500 and a ceiling at 114,000. The maximum profit for the short strangle is between 108,000 and 113,800. So here, we can go down to about our lower zone. And on the other side, up to 114, that's the observed volatility range. So for tomorrow, we'll probably continue to see this volatility within our box. Alright, the large trades we have here as singles. Look, we have a 200 Bitcoin position. Short call at 113. Short call at 113. Which means, with the wick we just made, you could say it's pretty much been realized. With this, even the trader's speculation came true. We have two 200 Bitcoin positions with different block counts. Short call. This one is also at 113, so they've seen the top. So basically, we had 200, 200, and here again, 200, so 600 short calls in total, 113, which has also been realized in a way, you could say. Well, another point to mention is, let me see if I can find this. Oh, look, if we consider the trades from yesterday, we had and still have 1,000 Bitcoin. A trader with 1,000 Bitcoin. That's really heavy. Just look, 1,000 Bitcoin. They bought puts, 1,000 Bitcoin worth of puts, for the October 25th expiry at 100,000. So, just a heads up, this is a really big trade. We should keep an eye on this, because by tomorrow, well, we've already seen these short strangles, but by tomorrow, we might see even more intense moves happen. Apparently, the trader has noticed this area, meaning they've seen the 100,000 level, and they've seen profits below 100,000. a sharp move. They predicted a move downward. And again, there's another 250 Bitcoin long put at 105,000. So, it seems like we're actually going to continue this corrective trend. At least down to this lower zone of ours, around 108. So at least down to about 108 by tomorrow. And let's see what happens. After that, we'll see how things play out. We saw that for the end of October. For the end of the month, we can still be hopeful for an upward move. Because it seems like we're looking to form a bottom until the end of October. In other words, we're looking to find a price floor from which an upward move will probably start. Let's take a look at the 24-hour liquidation data. As you can see, right now, in the short term, the liquidity volume on the downside is higher. It's also closer to the price, 110 and 220 down to 108. As we said, there's a lot of liquidity at 108. There's also liquidity above, around 112 to 113. But the liquidity below is sticking to the price, making it a more accessible target for the price. So, a downward move is likely and ongoing. Here is the 48-hour data. We have a very dense liquidity zone at 112,300, but the price has chosen to move downward. With this candlestick we're seeing, if it closes like this, well, its momentum is really strong and it will probably continue. It looks like we're heading downward. For the liquidity at 108 and below, well, there's still liquidity down to 105, so we'll keep our arrow for now. It seems for now we'll move the end of the arrow to 108 here, and if it comes down to this lower level then. This head and shoulders pattern we mentioned, if we accept it as a head and shoulders and don't get too strict about it. Shoulder here, head here, other shoulder there. If it comes here, it forms head and shoulders. Once done and hit here, we'll see volatility and might move by the pattern height. Down to that same $1,000 barrier where our friend, the one who bet on 1,000 Bitcoins, has set his position, down. So this is another visualization that can be done using the chart, and it could indicate the future price movement. Thank you for your attention. I hope it was helpful.